Hi everyone, welcome back to another one of these. I have been away Monday because I had a doctor's appointment, and then Tuesday I can't stream Tuesday evenings, so I am here today with a lot of news to share with you guys. A couple of stuff happened, although we didn't have as much volatility, but that was to be expected because of the fact that we had the FOMC meeting today, the Fed rate decision of whether or not we would cut interest rates. We already know the answer. 99% chance that nothing was going to happen, and nothing happened. So what people were expecting more to come from would have been the Q&A part from Jerome Powell with the reporters, which it went relatively well, I would say. You know, kind of dovish, right? Nothing too aggressive, nothing too crazy was mentioned. They did ask him some questions about recession, some questions about, um, well, I don't know what else. Just go watch the stream, I guess. It's just a bunch of boomers talking, so I didn't really pay that much attention. Although I should. It's important. You should too. Anyway, so overall, good stuff happening. Nothing too crazy. And we got a lot of assets going up because of that. A lot of coins in the green today, which is something relieving to see after days of being either down or flat. You can notice like we haven't gone up much in terms of Bitcoin at least. Current price for Bitcoin is, oh, it just dropped to 85,000. It was at 86,000. We actually reached a high in the last hour at 8 o'clock. 87,000. That's pretty impressive. We're almost there, guys. We're almost at 90,000. Although we do have a while to go still. We have to break the downtrend and break the resistance that we got here from the fib zone at 89,300. I did not click that. What is going on? Yeah, but overall, like, further downside, I don't see it, honestly. If we do, like, it's not going to be lower than this. Why? We have a big uptrend, like super long-term uptrend. I'm going to go to a daily chart here for you. Um, Starting from August 5, bouncing off September 7, that uptrend has not been broken yet. Okay? And I don't think it will be because it's the defining uptrend for this bull cycle, right? Every other uptrend that we did have, like that were aimed up here or something like that, those absolutely have been broken. And we just formed a new downtrend ever since our all-time high at almost 110,000, dropping all the way with with another anchor point, I would say, at 21st of February when it was 99,000. This was pre-Bybit hack. Once Bybit got hacked by North Korea and their Ethereum got stolen, we had a big drop. Ethereum has it's at least at $2,000. But you can see where it was in the past couple of days, right? This is all daily chart. We've been under 2,000 for such a long time, practically over a week. It's been painful for Ethereum, but now, thanks to today's pump, we're finally out of that and are sticking above the 2,000 zone, hoping that we can stay there and close the I think we, yeah, well, this candle technically closed, but it's using a different time zone. It's using UTC, and I'm either 5 or 6 hours ahead or behind. I don't know, you do the math. But that's good. We finally formed an uptrend in the 4-hour chart, so that's good as well. Where do we see this going from here? I will do some line drawing. I think that looks better. So I'm hoping that this is one that we can maintain for now. The other one that I have drawn here, from when is this one? Super long term, I think, as well. I don't think I have enough candles to fit this. Yeah, this is super long term. I drew this in the weekly chart. But hey, at least this one kind of did stay, right? From September 2020. If we do break that one, it's absolutely over. I don't see any other uptrend that you can draw for Ethereum other than that one. Ethereum is supposed to be going up all the time because, you know, we got ETFs now, and look where we are with Ethereum. Worse off than where we were when we didn't have ETFs, which is insane. So, is Ethereum oversold? Yes, it is. We do see the, you know, our favorite McDonald's pattern. Why is this red? Come on. There you go. McDonald's pattern. It's telling you something. Anyway, forget that. we do have an uptrend forming as well in the 1 hour chart. That's obvious, and it's up 4% today, so that's not too bad either. I didn't mention the percentage for Bitcoin. It's 3% up today. Solana is up 6% at 133. I'm surprised it didn't go any higher. Went to 136 approximately, and slowed down from there in the past hour. We'll see where else we can go with that. XRP is up the highest today. We got some fundamentals for that, which I'll be getting into as well. Wow. Practically went from 230 to 258, stopping right there. Look at that. Perfect resistance at that Fibonacci level. Is this even drawn correctly? I hope it is, otherwise it'll look foolish. No, it is drawn correctly. That's perfect. Yeah, that's a perfect resistance there. So it's going to take a bit more either time or fundamentals for us to break out of that and push forward. But for now, we'll be oscillating around this zone. So keep an eye out for that for XRP. SUI is 243, up 5% as well today. Decent news for SUI that I'll share, but it's kind of old. I don't think it's necessarily reflected onto the price. I feel like this is just moving because the rest of the market is moving. Similar deal with Cardano, up 3%, 73 cents right now, reaching a high today of 74, almost 75. No, not really. Practically 74 still. And Litecoin is up 3.93%. And I do have an active trade in Litecoin at this very moment as we speak, thanks to my trading bot that it's been there since 2:30. You know what happened at 2:30? FOMC meeting. And Jerome Powell spoke and he made a position entry because we were indeed in an uptrend. 5-minute chart will show you where exactly I entered right over here. Once the trend flipped bullish, it entered a trade, put a stop loss below these minimums, which is just perfect. And it said its take profit at $95 for Litecoin, which, how much of an increase is that supposed to be? 4%. We're up 3.9%, so we're almost there. Just need a little bit more, and then we'll hit our take profit target. I don't know if we'll be able to hit it tonight because Asia market has already opened. They started off buying a little bit at 8 o'clock, right? They made the price pump up a little higher for most, if not all, coins, right? And after that little pump that we had, we are currently seeing a small correction, but I feel like that's just temporary. I'm hoping that we do continue to swing upwards, and you know, at least we hit my little target that I have there. My take profit level, $95.13. You can do it, Litecoin. I believe in you. My entry price was 91. And yes, I am using the full 5,000 in this case here. Risking 1% per trade and making 3 times what I risk for a take profit. Now, I did do some trades in the past couple of days that were loser trades. That's why you'll notice that my balance is 4,799, which 4,800 means I lost 4 times. Yeah, I lost 4 times, I guess. You can see that in my position history, or maybe 3 times. I don't know. A lot of losses. Yeah. Ever since I put in the 5,000. 1, 2, 3. Oh, and then this was just a accidental entry I think I did. So I had to cancel that immediately. I closed it in profit, but it still lost me money. $4.54, which that's unfortunate, but it's whatever. I do have to note this down still, so I'll get that ready in my trading workbooks, perpetual futures. And what is the last one that I wrote? March 16. So hang on a minute. March 16 here. That's the last one I wrote. So I have to do 1, 2, 3, and then the one that's about to close. So that'll be the 4th trade. 1 trade per day, practically. Well, this one was an accident. It was a mistake. So March 17. Let's write that down. I'm lost. What was it in? Bitcoin? No, it was Litecoin. March 17. Entered Litecoin at 93.11. Almost the same prices, but in that case it dropped to 91 instead of increasing to 95. So not necessarily the same. I did this realized profit and loss, and then this funding fee, and don't click the wrong one. the trading fee. Maker and taker fee is included in there. This hit a stop loss. It's fine. Cardano was next. This was on the 18th, 318. And this is the entry price. And exit price. I was shorting Cardano, but it actually went up yesterday. Why did it go up? It like some volatility spike, I'm sure. I don't know. I wasn't really here for that anyway, so at least we got a positive funding rate. That's decent. It should be minus this though. So that minus this. There you go. It's still negative fee anyway. Stop loss triggered. Should I even write that? I do have to write this down, unfortunately. It's annoying to do this, but whatever. This was 319. Entry price is that. Stop loss was this. It's literally just enter and exit at the same time. I opened at 257 and closed at 242. Okay, I did technically close at a loss, I guess, but I don't know. There was some crazy lag, and it made me lose more than what I was expecting. Look, I technically only lost 80 cents, but then I'm paying $3 in fees for that mistake. That's unfortunate. This was closed manually, so yeah. Cool. So my equity 4,810, is that correct? It should be. It doesn't show this amount here specifically, probably because it's being used up in the current trade. We'll know for sure once this trade closes for now, so we gotta wait. As of right now, making 98. If I hit take profit, that's 143. It'll compensate 3 losing trades. So ignoring this one, it would compensate these 3. And then I'd be back at what balance? 4,975, I think. Which is practically where I started, honestly. Yeah, 4,978. Fair enough. And then a couple dollars under as well, because of these. I'm gonna increase these decimal points just so that I could read the prices better. Yeah, that's all. Alright, cool. Next. So far I'm losing $11 per day since I started, but that's gonna likely change. I don't want to get too cocky though. What if this doesn't hit its take profit and it just immediately drops? Oh, well, we hope not. Anyway, let's get into some news. We got a lot of news to talk about, like I said. So first things first is the FOMC meeting. There wasn't much of a change, like I mentioned. Quantitative T, I forgot what that means. Slowed, no, QT, whatever. Slowed to $5 billion a month. Dot plot unchanged at 2 cuts this year. So we're expecting at least 2 rate cuts. The CME FedWatch tool sees it as 3 rate cuts, but I think that's a little bit too much, especially given what Jerome Powell mentioned today. The expectations of unemployment rate, the salaries not expecting to rise, that kind of stuff will impact the economy as well. So a slower growth, possible higher inflation, depends. Would really depend. And also, in terms of recession, he said there's always a possibility of one, but for now, like, the economy is just chilled out, so we don't gotta worry. The Fed currently expects for the end of 2025, based on the SEP, interest rates ending 2025 at 3.75%, which is unchanged from its previous forecast. It was practically a copy-paste, the exact same thing. The growth, the GDP, we're expecting a 1.7%, which is up from its previous 2.1% forecast. The unemployment rate of 4.4... What? Okay, so GDP is expected to be 1.7% on top of this 2.1%. Unemployment rate of 4.4%, which is down from its previous 4.3% forecast. Inflation, PCE, of 2.7%, up from its previous 2.5% forecast. So inflation expected to rise, unemployment expected to rise a little bit, very little, right? And GDP expected to... What does it say up? Are you sure this is up? I'm pretty sure this would mean drop. Yeah, exactly. How is 1.7 up from 2.1? I think that's a typo. Down. It should be down for growth GDP. Sorry about that correction there. Anyway, on to bigger news. We got Solana. A lot of stuff to talk about with Solana, so we'll get into it. First off, March 17, 2 days ago was Solana's official birthday, so happy birthday, Solana. And next big news is that the first Solana ETFs are launching in the United States tomorrow. It's happening. We're getting Solana ETF. Who would have wondered? We thought Litecoin was the highest probability of getting an ETF approval, but hey, it turns out like it's gonna be Solana instead. So congratulations, Solana. We'll see what happens here. The first one is gonna come from Vol Shares, who is gonna be providing that ETF. So there you go. More Solana news. Tron, so Justin Sun, founder of Tron Coin, will also be migrating over to Solana. He's ready to buy and collaborate, is what he said. That is kind of good, right? We've seen this happen with a lot of projects, right? We've seen Phantom do this. They migrate to Sonic, and I think they're using Solana. I could be wrong. I don't remember that one. But I know for sure Render did it. They switched from Ethereum to Solana. Polygon Matic did the same thing, switching from Ethereum to Solana. ERC20 blockchain to Solana blockchain, right? And now Tron will be doing the same, okay? Because they used to be on the ERC20 blockchain, and then they developed their own ecosystem. It's not as popular, and there's a lot of competition. I guess they just decided to join the enemy in this case, join Solana, become part of Solana. So Tron will be working with Solana because Solana is just better, honestly. So congratulations. There you go. Radium. If you don't remember what this is, it's something you launch meme coin. It's mainly used for meme coins, and they're pushing into it a lot more, it seems like. They will be launching a launch pad called Launch Lab. It will initially resemble a direct fork of Pump.Fun. Pump.Fun was easy way for people to create meme coins, right? It's why Solana meme coins are so popular. It's also the reason why the market cap is diluted for like all the altcoins. There's too many options, right? What are you going to invest in? You have millions of coins to choose from. And of course, 90% of those are meme coins, and 90% of those meme coins are rug pulls. So yeah, the only way to get it a bit more trustworthy is if your meme coin gets put on Radium. You have to be some sort of developer for that, and you would get more trust from the community in that sense, because anybody can launch on Pump.Fun and rug you. But on Radium, you can also launch. It's a little harder to do. It's not as easy. And, you know, you do have to be a verified developer, stuff like that. So those people are less likely to rug the people that are investing in their meme coin, right? That's what the importance of that is. But it seems like that's all going to be thrown out the window. They're going to find a way to make it easier to create tokens on Radium itself. They're calling it, well, it's, yeah, another meme coin factory the launchpad thing that they're doing. Anyway, Pump.Fun as well, they're moving their Solana around. They deposited 196,370 Solanas, which is $25 million worth, to Kraken, and this happened March 17. They deposited a total of $511 million to Kraken, and they're selling Solana as well. Why is Pump.Fun selling Solana at such a low price? Solana was literally 125, 129, I don't know. They sold for $41 million USDC. At 158 is where they sold it. Okay, well, I mean, you could have sold it at 290, whatever it was. But anyway, they earned, though, a total of $402 million in Solana. I mean, sure, that's just infinite money. You make it, you give access for people to create meme coins. You charge a commission, and, you know, from those commissions, these guys become millionaires. That's just business. Exchanges have to do this. It's necessary. So, but now they're going to have a competitor, which will be interesting. That's going to be Radium now. Because now anybody, I'm assuming, can launch on Radium too. It'll be a lot easier. There was other ways around it, of course. But this way, it's like an official way that Radium itself is doing for ease of access for the other people. Solana also, mysteriously, the internet is forever. They launched this ad where this guy is like, oh, I want to increase human potential as much as possible. It's an ad, right? For what exactly? We don't really know. It seems more like a MAGA ad, in my opinion. Probably made by Republicans against Democrats, where this guy's talking to his therapist, right? This lady right over here. He's saying like, oh, I want to grow. I have this masculine urge to develop, innovate, to create, to, improve myself. And she's like, oh, I think you're thinking a little too hard. Why don't you try thinking about genders, or, all that kind of woke stuff is what she was pushing it. Like, oh, you can trust the media. This guy's like, what are you talking about? You guys are biased. We aren't biased. Stuff like that. Until at the end, he just rages, gets up, walks away, and decides to be an entrepreneur. And then that was it. That was the ad. People were confused, and Solana deleted this ad. And it left a lot of people questioning, like, what was the purpose of this? Like, come on, it's fully produced, it's fully subtitled. They actually put effort into this ad just to delete it later on. Like, what were they trying to do? Now, this was released when? March 18? Was it March 18? I think it was, yeah. That was a day after their birthday. Did it have something to do with that, maybe? I don't know. It's left a lot of people speculating on what's going on. I mean, the message is positive. It's like a common sense kind of message to, especially for like, I guess, younger conservative men, which seem to be what the popularity of younger men seem to be. I don't know. Based off of polls. I'm just guessing here. I don't know. It's all speculation. Make of that what you will. Okay, let's talk about Ripple. The reason Ripple is up to a lot is because the SEC finally dropped their appeal in Ripple's case. I think this is it this time. This is the official one. I know it's been mentioned a couple times. We've seen XRP pump a lot based off of SEC news, right? But this time I think it's actually official. Brad Garlinghouse released this tweet. Says, this is it. It's the moment we've been waiting for. The SEC will drop its appeal. A resounding victory for Ripple, for crypto, every way you look at it. The future is bright. Let's build. Brad Garlinghouse, of course, CEO of Ripple. He says, this mention got dropped on the editing floor, but also let me... Okay, that has nothing to do with it. Sorry. Yeah, there you go. Cool. Big news. Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse said the SEC will drop its appeal. The case dates back to December 2020. That is when the SEC accused Ripple of selling XRP as an unregistered security. Thanks, Gary Gensler. Ripple pledged to donate $5 million in XRP to Donald Trump's inauguration fund. Of course, after they donated lots to Kamala. I don't know. I don't understand these guys. According to CoinGecko, XRP has surged over 14% in the past 24 hours. That was the initial pump. It did rise 14%. Reached $2.55 with its FDV reaching $254.87 billion, surpassing Ethereum's FDV, which is $244.24 billion to become the cryptocurrency with the second highest FDV. FDV is that daily volume, I think. No, fully diluted valuation. It's a measure of the total value, assuming all of its tokens are in circulation. That's been a major talking point now, is the fact that XRP will be passing Ethereum. It just seems very likely now at this point. It's just something to think about, honestly. It will have to duplicate, I'm pretty sure. Its market cap, yeah. Its market cap's 143,000. You duplicate that, you would pass Ethereum. And Ethereum, we know, has been underperforming compared to the rest of practically every coin, right? Unfortunately. It doesn't deserve to do that, but people are upset about that. That's why today it's one of the trending coins. The fact that it literally has a 5% pump and is above $2,000 finally. People are rejoicing for that. So I guess whatever. Let's talk more about Ethereum though. Well, first things first, Justin Sun, after announcing this migration to Solana for his Tron ecosystem, he is also staking $100 million in Ethereum, meaning that in passive income, he would earn $3 million annually. Wow, that's a money hack. You make $3 million annually. Anyway, that's pretty cool. Coinbase, the Coinbase coin, they mentioned that they would announce a crypto coin version of their Coinbase. They do have a stock, and I'm not sure if their stock price is going to be the exact same as their cryptocurrency price. If that is the case, that would be pretty cool. And I'm expecting it to have the same kind of volatility Binance coin would have, right? I don't know if the position in the, what do you call it? The ranking, right? If it would be up there next to Binance, I don't think that would be the case because Binance is larger than Coinbase. I would expect it to be somewhere where above where crypto.com is at least. What other exchange token do we have here? Where's like KuCoin or BitGet? BitGet is right here, 24. I'd say it's going to be above BitGet for sure. So maybe like in the 20s or late teens is where we will see coin if it does get launched into a token that would be tradable. For now, it is only on the base ecosystem. It's it says it's trading for 186, although on the Nasdaq, like the actual stock price, it's at 192. At least it was 2 days ago. Today, I'm pretty sure it dropped. Did it drop at all? I want to check Coinbase. Coin 189 today. Reached a high of 193. Sure, yeah. That's pretty much what we saw there. So, yeah, we'll see how that develops. Canary files for SUI ETF. I don't remember if I mentioned this or not, but there it is. SUI ETF might be coming soon. I'm pretty sure like almost every cryptocurrency is going to get an ETF, even Polkadot. They're being filed by 21 shares with NASDAQ to get an ETF. That's cool. Arkham says that BlackRock is buying $40 million in Bitcoin. Fidelity is also buying. ARK Investments is also buying. The ETFs, they're starting to buy again. That's good news. Because we've had just plenty of outflows at the beginning of the month. I didn't mean to highlight all that. March 14, we had a $41 million inflow, although it was mainly outflows coming from BlackRock, surprisingly. Nothing from Grayscale. Monday, $274 million inflow. Tuesday, $209 million inflow. Today, we had an outflow from, who is this? Invesco, alright. Grayscale actually inflowed. Interesting. And we don't have BlackRock's numbers yet, but it's likely going to be an inflow considering how much we've increased in price today. So we keep an eye on that too. Yeah, they detected a $40 million purchase. When was that? Was that from today? No, that was from 17th of March. It's a day late. Yeah. So we don't know how much they're going to accumulate yet. But we'll see by end of day. By tomorrow. You know who else has been buying? A lot of whales, especially Michael Saylor from Strategy. He purchased... It's a bit concerning, okay? Because if you guys remember, before Bybit got hacked, Bitcoin was around 99,000, 97,000. And Michael Saylor said, well, he bought 20,000 Bitcoins for about $2 billion at 97,514, the price of Bitcoin. So he bought at the top, and then we had the Bybit hack, and then Bitcoin's price dropped from there, which what we see right over here. Right over here. He bought right here 97,000. No, not here. Sorry, here. This is before Bybit got hacked. Then Bybit gets hacked, drops all the way down here. So he's in the negative. If it drops more, you're supposed to buy more to compensate for that loss. But he didn't buy that much. He didn't buy 20,000 Bitcoins. He only bought 130 for $10 million. Is he broke or what? That's what's funny about this case. Like, he's doing things backwards. But, hey, it's something that he said anyway. He's going to hold it for long term, so I guess it doesn't even bother him that much. He's already made his millions, probably billions. Is it billions? It's definitely billions, right? He holds 500,000 Bitcoins. I can't do math. Is that a billion? 500,000. Bitcoin's price is what? 86,000. It's 43, what? 1,000 million billion. Yeah, he's a billionaire already. Well, at least his company is. His company's market cap. MicroStrategy. He also started another stock called Strife. So he has Strike and also Strife. two cool new stocks that he's launched. I haven't investigated much in them, but I do have to, so if I have any updates on that, I will let you guys know. Still on the topic of Ethereum, Binance increased their Ethereum holdings just yesterday by over $600 million this week alone. I think a majority of it was them helping Bybit cover or recover, I guess, their Ethereum loss, because Ethereum, the cold wallet that had all of their Ethereum got stolen by North Korea, which by now they've already converted into Bitcoin, by the way. Smart move by the North Koreans. And Binance had to kind of bail them out, right? Or maybe they were manipulating the price, is what a lot of people were speculating, which is why we saw such a massive decrease in the price. Like, you just got hacked, and you don't want to rebuy Ethereum, like, when it's all the way up there. When did it get hacked? It got hacked over here. So what do? You manipulate the price with your biggest exchange buddy at Binance, and then you guys reaccumulate down over here, kind of deal. Cheaper, right? You recover from your hack by paying less. Some people speculated that, but we're not sure if it's actually a thing. We saw a lot of blockchain transactions, suspicious history from these big whales or from these big exchanges, right, at Binance, possibly manipulating the market price to help Bybit recover. So yeah, that was just speculation. Some FUD. Standard Chartered cuts year-end Ethereum target to $4,000 from $10,000. What does this mean in English? There's a company called Standard Chartered that they had a target for Ethereum at $10,000. And after they see this, they're like, okay, from here, $2,000 Ethereum. Are we going to reach 10,000? We're going to need more than a 200% pump for that. How much is it? 10,000? You're going to need a 400% pump to hit 10,000 from here. I don't think that's very likely. So they cut their analysis and say, you know what, 4,000 will be the top for Ethereum by the end of the cycle. So duplicating its price, 100% increase, right? We're at 2,000, we're going to reach 4,000 by the end of the year. That's really slow growth, but it's still 100,000. The relativity, is that a word, I think? From Ethereum dropping from here, like this is only a 50% drop, right? From 4,000 to 2,000. And what do you need to go from 2,000 to 4,000? Practically double that, 100% increase from a 50% drop. So trading futures is very complicated, very difficult, very dangerous. So you got to know what you're doing. That's all I want to mention for that. And you know, even the big whales are still getting scared on Ethereum's case, right? There was a wallet that purchased Ethereum 3 years ago. Purchased 1,014 Ethereums, which is at that time $1.92 million. And well, 2-3 days ago they decided to sell at the bottom when Ethereum was sub 2K. They sold it for a profit of only $126,000. They could have sold it at 4,000, but they decided to sell now. I guess they gave up on Ethereum. At least they didn't sell at a loss, I guess, but only 126,000 after holding for 3 years. You could have put that money in, you know, made more money in a bank, right? With these small interests that they gave you from that. Anyway, he purchased that Ethereum at an average price of 1,771. They held it for 3 years. They had a profit of $2.3 million when Ethereum was at its peak, 4,100. And no, well, they didn't sell. No diamond hands. They turned to paper. Yep, that sucks for them. Now we're kind of recovering, but I also do have a lot of Ethereum accumulated. It's going to be a while. I do also think that 4,000 is an appropriate target, though. So, yeah. Speaking of the whales, this is a bear whale from Hyperliquid that I talked about a couple days ago. That was crazy shorts on Bitcoin, expecting Bitcoin to drop massively. and betting a lot of money on that too, which was insane to see. But he finally closed his 500 million Bitcoin short position. Good, because by these prices right now, that person would have been liquidated, but he did not get liquidated despite all this effort to liquidate that person multiple times, right? And we just couldn't do it until today. Today we finally broke out of that, but he already sold at a profit somewhere down here, I'm assuming. He made about, I'll show you the numbers. He went long on Melania too. He's going long on different random assets. He made $9 million in profit. Casually shorting $500 million in Bitcoin publicly. And then says, thanks for playing. It was all tracked on Hyperliquid, so yeah. That was interesting to see. I wanted to show this. Hyperliquid has redefined trading is what they mention. I don't follow them. Whoops. When a whale shorts $450 million in Bitcoin and wants a public audience, it's only possible on Hyperliquid. They're just bragging about their transparency, right? When the headlines say Bitcoin market on edge, they're equating Hyperliquid with the market. Anyone can Photoshop any profit and loss screenshot. Like if you have your own centralized exchange, you could just post a screenshot like, guys, look how much profit I'm making. Not on Hyperliquid, because everybody can track it. You could just go to their scan website, not scam, scan, like a hyper scan, and you could see any wallet address, you paste it in there, you can see all of their positions, all their holdings, their entry prices that I've showed you guys before. Like I still have hyper scan. This is the wallet for the original Tether FUD. You can see what they have right now. They have this coin called Jelly, and they're long. Oh, I didn't mean to. Come on. I didn't even click this. What is going on? I guess I'm gonna have to hyper scan perps. There we go. Jelly is the coin that they're in, and they're long on it. They're making $2,000. Seems like not a lot of money has been placed in here. But yeah, it's just transparency. Cool thing to see on a decentralized network. That is indeed what the purpose of all this is for, right? To stay decentralized. After that, there's just rumors of him putting his profits into gold and into Ethereum. Surprisingly, Ethereum and gold pumped as well. Gold is still like above $3,000. 3,055, yeah, new all-time high today, thanks to FOMC meeting as well. Maybe he knew something about the FOMC. Maybe. We don't know if this is actually an insider, or just a crazy gambler, or luck. We don't know. So yeah, making $9.46 million of profit in 8 days. People are speculating, okay, so who really is this person? Or why are they doing this, right? They refer to as a hyperliquid whale, but they're actually a criminal gambling with stolen funds, is what people are speculating now. Now, what do you mean by this? And I'll explain it. There's people, scammers can use hyperliquid for money laundering purposes. Not financial advice, but check this out. You can, for example, deposit $5 million in stolen funds into Hyperliquid, right? It's a decentralized exchange. You don't need KYC. You just deposit any coin or whatever you need in there. Mainly USDC, because that's what we're seeing most people trade with here, right? Could be any stable coin, honestly. You can use 50x leverage to open a $250 million short against funding. Oh my gosh. So it's practically arbitrage, right? So 5 million, half of that, hold on. No, 50, okay, 50 times 5. Yeah, okay, I see. So 50x leverage times the 5 million is 250 million. You open a short. You would be gaining funding fees by then because the funding rate is likely positive. If it's positive and you're shorting, you will get paid. You would hedge that on a centralized exchange or on any other exchange, I assume, by opening a long position. So you're doing the opposite and the same amount of money using clean money, money that you actually earned. If the coin drops 2%, your hyperliquid short would get liquidated. Your stolen funds are gone, but the clean long position gains that 2%, which makes it, you get $5 million in profit. And that's how you would launder your money, right? Because they're just seeing it as, oh, you just made profit on a trade, when realistically you didn't lose any money, because you got liquidated, but you also made that money back immediately. Leverage forces liquidation on small moves, like a 2% drop would be a full wipe. That explains the 40x leverage that this crazy person is doing with all of that money, right? You short against funding, makes a squeeze more likely. You rinse, repeat, and then you cash out. Obviously, it's a simplified version. They'll tweak position sizes to avoid perfect one-to-one hedges, making it harder to track. Of course, it would be suspicious if, like, you would, somebody, like, did that exact 250 million long and then 250 million short on a different exchange. People are going to notice and say, hey, that's coincidentally with the exact same prices. So they're going to change the prices up a little bit or change the amounts a little bit to kind of bypass that. Smart. There's your free money laundering course. Anyway. Wait, I have to... Actually, I'll keep that bookmarked, just in case. I don't know. So yeah, and that leaves a legacy behind of this mysterious hyperliquid whale who has just made a ton of profit despite being hunted by a team. Now, that's not necessarily what this hyperliquid whale was doing. It was not, I don't think he was money laundering because of a different technique that he used. He used a time-weighted average price to take small profits throughout time, and I'll explain what that means. So he managed to turn a profit despite being hunted by a team. We know that CBB, this Twitter account, gathered a bunch of Twitter whales, I guess, on Twitter, this big space, and managed to convince them to, hey, let's all go long and try to liquidate this whale. Or maybe he was the maybe he was the guy, the malicious guy. We don't know. CBB 11 hours ago, not really. Publicly formed a team to hunt this whale who shorted Bitcoin with 40x leverage. This is your TLDR of what happened. 1 hour later, the team was in action. They drove Bitcoin to 84,690 in a short period, but it was not enough. The whale also was forced to deposit $5 million in USDC to increase his margin and avoid liquidation. You can do that, by the way. You can add more margin to avoid your liquidation. So instead of your liquidation being over here, you would increase it to something like over here. Whales is a term that we use in trading for people with like millions or billions of dollars, right? That would enter the market. It's just a bunch of terms that we use. Bullish would be like if you're expecting something to go up. Bearish, or a bear, is if you're expecting something to go down. Dovish if you're expecting things to be peaceful. Hawkish if you're expecting things to be aggressive. Just descriptions of animals, I guess, we use in the crypto terms there. So that hunt failed. The whale, the guy with a lot of money, continued to increase his position, and he practically doubled down on a short position. He was profiting from closing position through a time-weighted average price. And that's when it's important to explain. I'll go through that in a sec. His current position, not anymore, was 5,406 Bitcoins, which is worth $449 million. Unrealized profit of 4.4 million. We know that in the end, he made $9 million. Congrats, I guess. Although that's way too risky. You're risking so much money just to make 9 million. Like in terms of, no, he practically doubled his position. Yeah, I wouldn't blame him. He originally put in 8 million. It varied from like 8 million to 11, 12 million because he added 5 million in collateral. But, yeah, if you put in $8 million, you use any leverage, you got $9 million out of it, you've duplicated your position. Congratulations. So yeah, overall, it's smart move by him. Time-weighted average price, so it's a way for scaling in or scaling out of a position without taking on too much slippage or significantly moving the price. What this means is, if you had all this, like $400 million, $449 million. If you just grab that and immediately sold it, it's going to have an impact on the price. Like, if you just sold $449 million, I don't know, that would move the price something like that, right? Maybe 1 full percent. I don't know. So what do you do instead is you take small profits where it'll, like, reduce the price just a little bit. And then, the price will continue doing its thing, and then it'll still reduce the price a little bit after a certain amount of time. Like every hour you take out a specific amount, right? And you're just taking out all these profits at different areas, and you're not having too much of an impact on the price, which is smart, I guess. Although this whale didn't do exactly that on other coins, like Melania, for example. Like, we see these price spikes when stuff like that happens. That's why we saw the price spike over here. Where is it? I'm in the 1 hour chart. This price spike, for example, was when people mass purchase, right? This would not happen on a time-weighted average price. If you do a time-weighted average price, people would like slowly purchase and make the price rise little by little, right? Over time. But in this case, if you just go on the spot market, you purchase a lot, all these people purchase at the same time, you make the price rise like a 2% pump. This was like with maybe $1 billion being put in, I'm not sure. And they still were, unfortunately, not able to liquidate this person. They tried it a couple times. Still no. So yeah, that's just on the scale of things what the time-weighted average price does. Next. North Korean hackers as well I do want to talk about. The Lazarus Group. They're the ones responsible for hacking Bybit Exchange, stealing all their Ethereum. They bridged that Ethereum into Bitcoin. Smart move, because Bitcoin is probably going to rise better than what Ethereum would rise. Also given the fact that Ethereum has already dropped a lot. So yeah, Ethereum, the most impacted, is probably not going to recover as good. They could be doing this money laundering method that I showed you guys to like pretending to be inexperienced traders and intentionally losing money, but they're using it in a different way. And I did share this as well by switching cryptocurrencies, like literally USDC to USDT, but you lose a lot of money while doing that switch. Why? Because there's an MEV bot in the middle. It's so hard to explain that concept, but it's practically a validator in the middle that confirms, the blockchain transactions, but they are also that man in the middle, and they're taking the funds from that. And, the output of the transaction is they lost all that money. Where did that money go to? Well, it went to that MEV, that man in the middle, I guess. And, they're laundering funds that way to cash out, I guess. In one example, they swapped 90,000 USDC for 2,300 USDT. Why is this bad? Because if you do 90,000 USDC, you should be getting 90,000 USDT. Why? Because they both cost $1. Tether USD is $1. USDC also $1. 99.99 cents, whatever. You get the point. So it should be a 1-to-1 conversion ratio. But why do you lose, well, $89,000? Because they use that MEV. They're secretly profiting using their own bots with MEV. That's an interesting way to do it. People are getting really creative. It's really crime season out there for crypto. So yeah. It also would make sense. That's why I guess a lot of Americans still do not trust crypto. 86% of America, according to this CNN poll, would not invest in Bitcoin. 20,000 votes. That's crazy. People still don't trust this process. Well, I do. And I mean, historically, it's been proven Bitcoin gives the highest rate of return compared to literally any asset. Maybe eggs will beat Bitcoin. I'm not sure. That's a joke. Don't worry. France. François Villeroy de Galhau is a member of the European Central Bank and governor of the Bank of France. He's warning that the US pro-crypto policies could trigger global financial instability. I don't know how. He argues that promoting crypto and non-bank financing risks future crises that often start in the US and spread worldwide. No, I don't think so. I think he's wrong, and we're seeing the growth of crypto being similar to like the growth of the internet back in 1990 never, right? So it's gonna be like a similar thing where people are gonna be skeptical, like they were skeptical of the internet, like, oh, why would you need the internet? Like, go read a book or something. When, how is this going to revolutionize the future? Well, everybody's going to start adopting this. Many people are already adopting this. Institutions are already involved. The governments are starting to get involved. We know the US government is, and we even have Donald Trump expecting we're expecting a major update from him on his upcoming crypto strategy. It would advise us or give us or show us, I guess, how he plans to accumulate more cryptocurrency, more Bitcoin. So that'll be interesting to see what they come up with. And he's already made that promise to us that he's going to make the US the crypto capital of the world. He wants innovation. He wants everything to be stemming from the United States. Any cool, good crypto projects to be created by American founders, of course. So yeah, that'll be smart. Good way to adopt it. Some hopium. If you think the bull cycle is over, it's not. A couple things to consider. Despite some weakening momentum, like the RSI cooling off, Bitcoin still hasn't convincingly broken below key supports. That's also something I mentioned in the longer term price action of Bitcoin, right? First of all, the 73,843 support, I guess, which used to be a resistance last year, has not been broken yet. We haven't touched that level. We touched as low as 76,000, but not 73,800. So, historically speaking as well, based off of my analysis, this is just me though, Bitcoin has, after an election, US election, the price that Bitcoin was before that election, we never see Bitcoin at that price ever again. We see it very close, but never we see that exact price that Bitcoin used to cost before presidential elections. In this case, the cycle is a little bit different because, we had a higher price in March and then the elections happened in November, right? So realistically, where would you draw the line? I would say, okay, maybe 69,000, 70,000. Like if we do break that 73,800, I would say bare minimum, like absolute worst case scenario, 70,000. We're not going to see Bitcoin below that. It wouldn't make sense because historically speaking, honestly. But of course, I could be wrong. Historical data does not confirm what future market can do. So just keep that in mind. Anyway, that's besides the point. On-chain metrics aren't fully bearish. Bitcoin's MVRVZ score remains well below typical cycle top levels, and roughly 73% of supply is illiquid in strong hands. This implies that many holders aren't capitulating, tempering the bear case. So a lot of people are holding, which is a good thing, and there's an indicator that they have that it's cyclical, right? And they don't see that the market has made, well, this current cycle that we're in has made its top yet. The top is not in. 110,000, that was not the top. We still got a long way to go. I feel like October, November is where we will likely see our top. Where roughly 180 to 220,000. I agree with those numbers. I'm hoping for that at least. There's macroeconomic factors as well. There's a lot of uncertainty. We'll agree with that with the tariffs and everything going on. The liquidity conditions could easily turn supportive. China is injecting liquidity. We know that for sure because their economy is also suffering. Possible Fed rate pivot. Risk assets like Bitcoin could gain a tailwind. What does this mean? Like you're injecting more money into the market. People will now have more money to spend to avoid recessions and all that kind of stuff, right? We don't want people not having money and then companies not receiving money because the consumers don't want to spend. They want people to spend. That's how businesses thrive in the economy, right? But if people have a lot of money, they're not using up their savings anymore. Now they're starting to save money. They want to invest money. Where would they invest? If things are good, there's no wars. I mean, you could invest in risk assets. People are like, yeah, I could afford to lose $5,000 on Bitcoin. I don't care if Bitcoin drops. I'll be fine with it. I have a lot of more money. But if you're in a bad situation case like we were post-COVID, where markets we saw a drop like in 2022, 2023, that was because people were like, okay, everything is more expensive now. I don't have a lot of money. I can't afford to lose my $5,000 on fake internet money, right? So that's how I guess the people think. Anyways, furthermore, it was only just yesterday that after weeks of net outflows, a single day inflow of about $274 million occurred. We're talking about the Bitcoin ETFs that I showed you guys. So we're finally seeing some inflows from the ETFs. We're just looking at this column over here where it's the total. 274 million, 17th of March, 209 million yesterday. Today, we're waiting for BlackRock's numbers. Hopefully, at least 100 million. I'm not sure. But we had a big pump today, so I'm assuming it will be a large number. I hope so, at least. Market psychology. The sentiment is cautious. That's why we're not seeing a big pump. We're still at the bottom, technically. But I feel like from here, you know, optimism can easily come back to us. Need another 4% pump. Break out of this downtrend. That resistance will be golden. Crypto Fear and Greed Index recently sank to extreme fear, but major bull cycles tend to end in euphoria. If we are in an extreme fear during a bull cycle, a cycle that, you know, it happens once every 4 years, where that's where we're supposed to see new maximums, new highs, we already got a little bit of that, but we're currently in a dip. And if we're in an extreme fear, how much more fearful can you get than extreme fear? You can't. That's just another possible bottom indicator, right? Major bull cycles tend to end for. I don't remember being euphoric. Do you remember being euphoric? Well, kind of. I was on vacation at this time, so I don't know. Yeah, January. I was still on vacation. But, I mean, yeah, it was fine. I'm well loaded up from this drop, right? So I'm just waiting for the bounce, honestly, at this point. Yeah, that's all. Nvidia released their new bot. It's like a legitimate robot. This looks fake, but it's actually real, apparently. So there you go. AI is happening. We're getting robots, Nvidia chips, and yeah. Also, just if you care, JFK assassination files got released yesterday, finally. Yeah, might make a video on that if I'm bored. There you go. Where is Litecoin? We're dropping. We're dropping. Kind of. Oh, I'm looking at the daily chart, that's why. Yeah, we're kind of dropping. It's fine. I'm expecting that overnight. I hope we don't drop too much. Maybe some continued movement upwards. I don't know. Maybe tomorrow morning is what I'll have to wait for to hopefully hit a take profit on this trade. Because I do need more volatility. And hoping that Wall Street sees all this optimism. Hopefully we don't get any bad news, because that'll just drive things further lower than how low they already are. And I don't want to see that. And of course, I unfortunately picked Litecoin of all assets to go long in today. The reason I did it was because I saw like it was closest to its uptrend. So I'm like, hey, it's got a lot of upward potential then, right? Kind of. Every other coin went up like 4%, 6%, 9%, and then I just picked the one that has like the lowest increase, almost the lowest, 3.82%. It's whatever though. It'll go up again, I'm sure. Anyway, that'll be it for me here today. I kind of overstayed my welcome, I think. But hey, I didn't stream in 2 days, so you guys deserve an extra long stream. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something new. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow for more of this stuff.